Imagine driving down a dark, secluded road when, out of nowhere, a figure appears, dressed in a rabbit costume, wielding an axe. It sounds like something out of a horror movie, but for the residents of Fairfax County, Virginia, it's a legend that has haunted the area for decades. This is the story of the Bunnyman, a bizarre and terrifying urban legend that blurs the line between reality and nightmare. Tonight, we unravel the strange and unsettling tale of the Bunnyman. The Bunnyman legend began in the 1970s, with reports of a man dressed in a rabbit costume terrorizing people in the Fairfax area. According to the stories, he was first seen near an overpass now known as Bunnyman Bridge. The figure, wielding an axe, was said to attack cars, smashing windows and threatening the occupants. The story goes that the Bunnyman was an escaped mental patient who had fled into the woods after a bus transporting him crashed. Some say he was driven mad by isolation and began dressing as a rabbit, attacking anyone who came too close to his lair. Others claim he was seeking revenge for wrongs done to him, and the rabbit costume was a twisted symbol of his lost innocence. Over the years, the legend has grown, with numerous sightings reported, especially around Halloween. Some say that if you visit Bunnyman Bridge at midnight, you might see him standing there, waiting, axe in hand. Others claim to hear eerie noises, scratching, rustling in the bushes, and even the faint sound of laughter. While the Bunnyman is likely more myth than reality, the fear he inspires is very real. The stories have persisted for decades, and the legend has become a staple of local lore. The tale of the Bunnyman is a perfect example of how urban legends can evolve and take on a life of their own. Whether he was a real person, a figment of collective imagination, or something else entirely, the Bunnyman remains a haunting figure in the annals of American folklore. So, if you ever find yourself near Bunnyman Bridge, be careful. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows. We're diving into one of the strangest and most chilling urban legends to come out of Virginia, the tale of the Bunnyman. Unlike many urban legends, this one has its roots in real, documented events that took place in the 1970s. What started as a bizarre and unsettling encounter quickly spiraled into a legend that has haunted Fairfax County for decades. Let's begin with the first encounter that sparked the legend. It was a quiet evening on October 19th, 1970, in Burke, Virginia. Robert Bennett and his fiancée were driving through the suburbs, enjoying a peaceful night. They parked in a field, across from a newly constructed house on Guinea Road. The night was calm, and the couple was unaware of the terror ahead. Something moved in the shadows outside. Suddenly, the tranquility was shattered. The passenger side window exploded inward. Outside stood a man in a white bunny costume. He clutched a large axe. He began shouting, accusing them of trespassing. "You're on private property," he screamed. The couple, frozen with fear, watched as he stared them down. Then, the Bunnyman fled into the woods. Shaken, they reported the incident to the police. An investigation was launched, but no trace was found. This bizarre incident was just the beginning of the Bunnyman legend. Just 10 days later, on October 29, 1970, another unsettling encounter took place involving a security guard named Paul Phillips. Phillips was on duty at a construction site on Guinea Road near the first incident. He noticed a figure standing on the porch of an unfinished house. In the dim light stood a man dressed in a bunny costume, eerily similar to the previous encounter. The man was holding an axe, chopping at one of the porch posts. Before Phillips could get too close, the man in the bunny suit shouted a chilling warning. "All you people trespass around here. If you don't get out of here, I'm gonna bust you on the head." Phillips quickly backed away and ran for help, reporting the incident to the police. Once again, the authorities conducted an investigation, but found no sign of the man or clues to explain these bizarre events. These two incidents from October 1970 are the foundation of the Bunnyman legend. Though no one was ever caught, and the true identity of the Bunnyman remains a mystery, these encounters have fueled decades of speculation, fear, and fascination. The Bunnyman has since become a local legend, with many claiming to see him near the Colchester overpass, now known as Bunnyman Bridge. Was the Bunnyman a disturbed individual, an escaped mental patient as some stories suggest, or perhaps something even more sinister? We may never know the truth, but the legend lives on, haunting the memories of those who dare to drive down Guinea Road at night. In the still of the night, near a riverbank, you hear it, a mournful wail, a cry so full of sorrow it sends shivers down your spine. You see a figure in white, her face hidden, her sobs echoing in the darkness. It's La Llorona, the weeping woman, forever searching for the children she lost. This is one of the most famous legends in Latin American folklore, but her story is as tragic as it is terrifying. Tonight, we delve into the haunting tale of La Llorona, the ghostly figure who roams the night, her cries a warning of impending doom. The legend of La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman, has been told for centuries across Latin America. The story often begins with a beautiful woman named Maria who falls in love with a wealthy man. They marry and have children, but Maria's happiness is short-lived. Her husband begins to lose interest in her, eventually leaving her for another woman. Driven mad with grief and jealousy, Maria does the unthinkable. She drowns her own children in a river. But as soon as she realizes what she's done, she's consumed by guilt and despair. Unable to live with her actions, she throws herself into the same river, taking her own life. But death does not bring her peace. Instead, her spirit is cursed to wander the earth, weeping and searching for her lost children. It's said that if you hear her cries, you must run and hide, for if La Llorona finds you, she will take you as one of her own, dragging you to the watery grave where her children lie. La Llorona's tale serves as both a ghost story and a cautionary tale, reminding us of the devastating consequences of jealousy and rage. But whether you see her as a tragic figure or a vengeful spirit, one thing is certain: her cries will haunt you long after the story is over. Now we delve into one of the most chilling encounters of La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. Her sorrowful cries have echoed through the centuries, and many claim to have encountered her ghostly presence. One such encounter took place in 1986 in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where a mother and her children came face to face with this tragic specter. It was a quiet evening in 1986. A mother and her two young children were driving home after visiting family in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The night was still, and the road was dark, with only the occasional glimmer of moonlight guiding their way as they passed by the Santa Fe River. The drive was uneventful, and the mother was lost in thought, eager to get home. But suddenly the calm was broken. From the back seat, her children began to stir, their voices anxious as they looked out the window at the riverbank. When she asked what was wrong, they both claimed to have seen a woman walking near the water. According to the children, the woman was dressed in a long white gown, her figure tall and slender, but her face was hidden beneath a dark veil. They said she was crying, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs as she glided along the river's edge. The mother, unsure of what they had seen, tried to reassure them, thinking it must have been a trick of the light or their imaginations running wild. But as they continued driving, the mother caught a glimpse of something in her rearview mirror, something that made her heart skip a beat. There, in the distance, she saw the same figure her children had described. The woman was moving effortlessly, almost as if she were floating just above the ground, following the river. The mother's breath caught in her throat as she realized this was no ordinary woman. Then, she heard it, a faint, sorrowful cry that seemed to come from the direction of the river. The sound was low at first, almost indistinguishable from the wind, but it grew louder and more anguished as the seconds passed. Her children began to cry, clutching each other in fear as the wail echoed through the car. It was the unmistakable sound of a woman in agony, the kind of cry that sent shivers down the spine and filled the heart with dread. The mother knew in that moment what they were hearing, the cries of La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. Panic overtook her, and she pressed down on the gas pedal, desperate to leave the river behind. As they sped away, the cries gradually faded, but the fear lingered long after they reached home. That night, the children refused to sleep alone, terrified that the Weeping Woman might follow them. In the days that followed, The mother tried to rationalize what they had experienced, but she couldn't shake the image of that ghostly figure by the river, nor the sound of those heart-wrenching cries. When she shared the story with her family and neighbors, they told her what she already feared. She had encountered La Llorona. To this day, many believe that hearing La Llorona's cries is an omen, a warning that something terrible is near. For the mother and her children, that encounter remains a haunting reminder that some legends are not just stories, but real, terrifying experiences. La Llorona's tale has been passed down through generations, a story steeped in sorrow and tragedy. Whether you believe in her or not, the accounts of those who claim to have heard her cries are enough to make anyone think twice before wandering near the water at night. So, the next time you find yourself by a river and the wind carries the sound of a distant wail, remember La Llorona, and whatever you do, don't follow her cry.